Hey everyone, welcome back to the IQ Factory. Today we're diving into a topic that many of you have asked about: how to spot a stingy man on a first date. Now, we all want to enjoy our time and feel appreciated, right? So let's explore 10 signs that might indicate your date is more of a penny pincher than a generous gentleman. Grab your notepad and let's get started. But before we get into this list, please subscribe and drop a like, because if you don't, you will probably never watch and learn these amazing life hacks again. First up, he chooses the cheapest option without considering you. Picture this: you're all dressed up, excited for a nice evening out. You arrive at the restaurant and he suggests a fast food joint instead of a cozy cafe or a nice sit-down restaurant. Why? Because it's cheap. Now, it's completely fine to be budget conscious, but if his main motive seems to be cutting costs rather than creating a memorable experience for both of you, that's a red flag. Let's think about the psychology behind this behavior. A stingy guy might prioritize saving money over building a connection. Dating is about more than just the food. It's about the experience and the memories you create together. If he's suggesting venues that don't align with your interests, it might indicate a lack of consideration for your preferences and values. Imagine you're at that fast food place, the ambiance is lacking, and you can't help but feel a bit let down. You might even find yourself thinking, does he not care about my enjoyment? It's essential to feel valued on a date, and choosing a place based solely on cost can leave you feeling less important. Also, consider how this choice reflects on his character. A man who is truly interested in you will want to impress you, not just save a few bucks. Think about what kind of relationship you want. If he can't even be bothered to choose a decent place to eat, what does that say about how he'll treat you in the future? Will he always look for the cheapest option in life, including when it comes to your happiness? Another interesting angle is to observe how he reacts if you suggest a place that's a little more upscale. Does he roll his eyes, make a snarky comment about prices, or does he consider it? A generous spirit is open to trying new experiences and making their date feel special. So next time you're planning a date, pay close attention to where he wants to go. If it feels more like a budget meeting than a romantic outing, it might be time to rethink your chemistry. Generosity isn't just about opening your wallet, it's about opening your heart and mind to creating wonderful experiences together. Next, he constantly complains about prices. Picture this: you're sitting down at a nice restaurant, and as soon as you look at the menu, he starts analyzing the prices like he's preparing for a budget meeting. Sure, it's normal to mention if something feels overpriced, but if he spends most of the evening grumbling about the menu, transportation costs, or even the price of drinks, it might signal a stingy nature. Now, let's talk about the psychology behind this. Studies show that people who obsess over costs often have a scarcity mindset. They see money as a limited resource and can't enjoy experiences because they're too focused on what they're spending. This can create an awkward atmosphere on a date where the joy of connection is overshadowed by constant financial commentary. And then they end up, imagine your date saying, wow, this place is expensive. I can't believe they charge that much for a salad, instead of engaging with you about your favorite dishes or sharing fun stories. When your date spends more time lamenting about prices than connecting with you, it's a clear indication that he may not be the generous type. But it's not just about the complaints. It's also how he reacts to your choices. If you order a cocktail or a dish that's a bit pricier, does he roll his eyes or make a sarcastic comment? That kind of negativity can be a major turnoff. It's not only about the money, it's about how he perceives your worth and enjoyment. And let's not forget the impact of these behaviors on the overall vibe of the date. An enjoyable outing should be filled with laughter, shared stories, and maybe a little bit of indulgence. If he's fixated on every price tag, you might find yourself feeling guilty for wanting to enjoy a nice meal. So if you find yourself sitting across the table from someone who's more concerned about the prices than the pleasant company, take a moment to reflect. Is this the kind of relationship dynamic you envision? One where you feel judged for your choices instead of celebrated? Ultimately, a date is about building a connection. If your date seems to prioritize costs over creating memorable experiences, it might be time to reconsider whether he's the right fit for you. Remember, it's about enjoying each other's company, not a running commentary on expenses. Now, let's talk about making no effort to cover the bill. This is a significant red flag. Picture this. You're at a lovely restaurant, the atmosphere is perfect, and the food smells divine. When the bill arrives, you expect a moment of charm, perhaps him reaching for his wallet, or at least offering to cover part of it, but instead, he just stares at it like it's a math problem he can't solve. Many first dates are about impressing the other person, showcasing that you can take care of the details. If he's unwilling to cover even a small portion of the bill, or insists on splitting it right down the middle without even a hint of chivalry, it raises some serious questions. It's not just about the money, it's about the intention behind the act. Generosity, even in small gestures, often speaks volumes about a person's character. For instance, let's say you both enjoyed an amazing meal. If he doesn't even offer to pay for your drink or suggests an uneven split, it can feel disheartening. You might think, does he not see the value in treating someone special? It's not about being flashy. It's about showing you care enough to invest in the moment. Moreover, consider the psychological aspect. Studies show that people often associate generosity with warmth and kindness. If someone is stingy, it might reflect deeper issues, such as insecurity or a scarcity mindset. They might worry excessively about finances or feel threatened by the idea of sharing resources. This can lead to relational issues down the line, making it hard to build a healthy partnership. Imagine a scenario where later in the relationship, you're sharing expenses or planning a trip. If he couldn't even cover a simple dinner, will he be willing to invest in experiences together? It's a concerning thought. Now, let's not forget about how this affects you. If you find yourself consistently picking up the tab or feeling awkward about finances, it can create an imbalance in the relationship. You deserve to be with someone who values your time and effort, not just their own bottom line. So keep an eye out during that first date. If he's not even trying to show some financial courtesy, it might be a sign to reconsider whether this is the kind of relationship you want to pursue. All right, number 4, he's overly concerned about getting his money's worth. Now, we've all been there, sitting at a restaurant, looking at the menu and mentally calculating what we can afford. But if your date is fixated on every single dollar and cent, that's a major red flag. Imagine this scenario. You're at a nice restaurant and he's scrutinizing the menu like he's preparing for a grocery store audit. Is this portion really worth $15? He might ask, tilting his head in disbelief. Or even worse, he might be eyeing the server, ready to pounce on the free breadsticks as if they're the golden tickets to a buffet. This hyper focus on value can take the fun out of the experience. A first date should be about connecting and enjoying each other's company, not turning the evening into a financial analysis session. When someone is more concerned about getting their money's worth, it often indicates they might not appreciate the experience itself. Instead, they view everything cost versus benefit. Wouldn't you rather be with someone who enjoys the moment? Consider this. A person who is genuinely interested in you will likely want to savor the experience. They'll appreciate the ambiance, the food, and most importantly, the time spent together. If he's more concerned about scrutinizing the portion sizes or complaining about the prices, he's missing the bigger picture. And let's not forget those awkward moments when he tries to negotiate prices. Yes, I mean negotiating with the waiter. If he starts asking for discounts or special deals, it can make for an uncomfortable atmosphere. Imagine the waiter's face when he asks, "Is there a coupon we can use for this?" It's not just unromantic. It can also make you feel embarrassed. Okay, now, being responsible with money is one thing. It's commendable to be financially savvy. But being overly calculative, that's where it crosses the line into stinginess. When he's obsessing over every dollar spent, it can signal a deeper issue, perhaps insecurity about his finances or a mindset that prioritizes saving over enjoying life. Psychologically, this behavior can stem from a scarcity mindset where he feels that resources are limited and every cent counts. While being frugal can be a positive trait, there's a fine line between being cautious and being stingy. So as you navigate the dating world, pay attention to these signs. If your date is more focused on getting a deal than enjoying the evening, it might be worth reconsidering whether he's the right match for you. Remember, life is about experiences, not just transactions. You want someone who values the time spent together, who cherishes the moments, and who understands that sometimes it's worth splurging a little for the sake of happiness. Keep this in mind as you enjoy your next date. Now let's move on to the fifth sign that might indicate your date is a bit too stingy for comfort. Fifth, he avoids small, spontaneous gestures. First dates are often marked by thoughtful actions that show someone genuinely cares. These include offering to buy you a drink, suggesting a fun activity, or even picking up the taxi fare at the end of the night. When someone is eager to impress, they'll often make these little gestures that show they value your time together. If he doesn't make these efforts, it could indicate that he's not fully invested in the relationship or that he's hesitant to express generosity. Think about it. When you're excited about someone, you naturally want to share small moments of kindness. Maybe he could offer to grab dessert or suggest taking a stroll somewhere beautiful after dinner. If he continuously avoids these opportunities, it could be a sign that he's not comfortable with spending even a little for the sake of enjoying your time together. That also consider the message this sends. If he's unwilling to put in these small efforts, it might reflect a broader attitude towards relationships, one where he isn't ready to invest emotionally or financially. On the flip side, it's essential to remember that everyone has a different approach to dating and money. However, first dates should feel light and fun, not transactional. Generosity doesn't always mean spending a lot of money. Sometimes it's about the thought that counts. So keep an eye out for this sign. And if a man can't show it on a first date, it might not bode well for the future. Next up, he is over-calculative of the things he orders. Picture this. You're at a restaurant and he's meticulously reading every item on the menu, not for enjoyment, but to calculate the cost of each dish. If he's suggesting cheaper alternatives or hesitating to order something he likes because it's a bit more expensive, it can be a major red flag. Now, it's completely fine to be mindful of spending, especially in today's economy. But there's a fine line between being budget conscious and being stingy. A genuine date should feel relaxed and fun, not like a financial negotiation. Ugh. And when you decide that, and let's be real, what's the point of a date if you can't enjoy the experience? If he's constantly calculating the costs, he's likely missing out on the connection you could be building. You want someone who's invested in the moment, not just the price tag. Moreover, if he's constantly suggesting lower cost dishes, instead of asking you what you genuinely want, it can feel dismissive. You might find yourself feeling more like a budget item than a valued partner. This can lead to frustration and disappointment, which is not what a first date should be about. So keep an eye out for this behavior if he seems overly focused on pennies rather than enjoying the meal or the time spent together. It could be a sign that he's not ready to invest emotionally or financially in the relationship. Remember, a good connection is about enjoying the moment, so don't settle for anything less. 7th, he orders cheap food for you. This is a classic sign that he may not value your experience as much as you'd hope. Picture this. You're at a nice restaurant and you're excited to try something new. You glance at a delicious dish, but he quickly jumps in, insisting you both stick to the least expensive items on the menu. Now, let's break this down. Ordering cheap food can come off as practical, especially if you're both trying to be budget conscious. But if he consistently pushes for the lowest priced items, it raises questions about his intentions. Is he genuinely trying to save money? Or is it a reflection of his stingy nature? And so, food is often a way to bond and create memories. Sharing a meal is about more than just nourishment. It's about enjoying flavors and experiences together. If he's unwilling to step outside the bounds of the cheapest options, it could signify that he doesn't want to invest in the experience. Consider this. A good meal can spark great conversation and connection. If he insists on ordering the cheapest items, think about how that might affect your evening. Will you both be satisfied, or will it feel like a compromise? It's essential to enjoy the dining experience together. So if he's fixated on saving a few bucks at the expense of your enjoyment, remember, it's not just about the cost of the food. It's about how he values the time spent together. A generous spirit doesn't just mean spending money. It means creating a comfortable and enjoyable atmosphere for both parties. So if you find him consistently opting for the cheapest food options for both of you, ask yourself if this is how you want to feel on a date. You deserve someone who appreciates the experience as much as you do. 8th, he complains when you order expensive meals. This can be a significant red flag if he shows discomfort or makes negative comments when you decide to treat yourself. It raises questions about his attitude towards generosity and enjoyment. Imagine you're at a restaurant and the moment you glance at the more indulgent dishes, he rolls his eyes or mutters something about budgeting. It can feel uncomfortable and even embarrassing. Instead of enjoying the moment, it shifts the focus to financial concerns, which is not what dating should be about. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect and enjoyment. If he's constantly commenting on your choices or making you feel guilty for wanting something nice, it can create an imbalance. It's important to feel free to express your preferences without judgment. Additionally, this behavior can indicate deeper issues. If he is fixated on your meal choice, it may reflect his own insecurities about finances, or his unwillingness to enjoy life's pleasures. You want someone who encourages you to indulge occasionally, not someone who makes you feel bad about it. Now let's flip the script for a moment. Imagine if he were genuinely supportive when you chose to order something special. He might say, "That sounds delicious, let's share." This attitude not only enhances the experience, but also fosters a deeper connection. So if you find yourself on a date where he's complaining about your meal choices, it might be a sign to reassess. After all, dating should be about sharing enjoyable experiences and building a connection, not worrying about who spent what. 9th, he avoids paying for your transport fare. This may seem like a minor detail, but it can reveal a lot about his character. Picture this. You've had a lovely evening, and as the date comes to a close, he mentions taking a taxi back. Instead of offering to cover your fare or suggesting a ride-sharing app, he casually suggests you take the bus, or worse, leaves it entirely up to you to figure out how to get home. Now let's break this down. A true gentleman would want to ensure you get home safely and comfortably. Offering to pay for your transport isn't just about the money. It's about showing care and consideration. If he genuinely likes you, he should want to make your experience as pleasant as possible. Think about it. Transportation can sometimes be a hassle, especially if it's late at night. If he's more concerned with saving a few dollars than ensuring you feel valued and safe, that could be a major red flag. It's a sign that his priorities might be misaligned with what a healthy, caring relationship should look like. Moreover, let's consider the social context. Many people view transportation costs as an investment in the relationship. Offering to pay for your ride home is a small gesture that communicates respect and interest. It shows that he values your time together and wants to make sure you feel appreciated. If he's not willing to make this small investment, it raises questions about his willingness to invest in the relationship as a whole. Now, I know some of you might think, well, maybe he's just being practical, and while it's perfectly okay to be mindful of expenses, there's a big difference between being practical and being stingy. If he's not even considering your comfort and safety when making those decisions, that's a clear indicator of his mindset. This behavior can also extend beyond just transportation. If he's consistently suggesting cheaper options or avoiding paying for things that would make you feel comfortable, it might be time to reconsider. A healthy relationship thrives on mutual respect, generosity, and thoughtfulness. So, if you notice him skipping out on transport fares or making you feel awkward about the cost of getting home, don't brush it off. Pay attention to how it makes you feel. You deserve to be treated with kindness and consideration, especially on a first date. To sum it up, if he avoids paying for your transport fare, it's not just about the money. It's about the signals he's sending regarding his interest and investment in you. Always remember, your comfort and safety should be a priority on any date. If he can't show that through small gestures, then it might be time to think about whether he's the right match for you. Now let's move on to our final sign, which is all about conversations surrounding finances. Finally, he talks excessively about money. If he seems overly focused on finances during the date, it might indicate that he prioritizes money over the experience. Imagine being on a date and the conversation keeps drifting back to his financial strategies, his budget plans, or how he saves money on groceries. While some discussion about finances is normal, especially if you're sharing future aspirations, if he's fixated on money to the point where it overshadows everything else, that's a concern. Now, this can manifest in various ways. For instance, he might brag about how he haggled for a discount or how he never pays full price for anything. This kind of talk can quickly become a mood killer, making the date feel more like a business meeting than a romantic outing. It's also a sign of how he views the world. If he sees everything through the lens of cost, it could point to a mindset that prioritizes financial gain over meaningful connections. You deserve someone who values you and your time more than a dollar sign. So if your date seems to be more interested in discussing his savings account than getting to know you, it might be time to reconsider the relationship. Remember, a genuine connection should feel effortless, not like a financial negotiation. So there you have it. 10 ways to identify a stingy man on the first date. Remember, generosity isn't just about money. It's about thoughtfulness and effort. If you notice too many of these signs, it might be time to reconsider your date. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own experiences in the comments below. Until next time, happy dating!